Hello and welcome to the Elder Scrolls Online PTS patch notes 8.3, otherwise I think update 37 is the name of this. And this is my first time doing patch notes for Elder Scrolls Online. I usually do EverQuest patch notes and stuff like that, so this is my first time. I'm gonna do it and see how it goes. This is just a new game I'm gonna be playing on the channel a lot more, and let's just go how it is. So I got this welcome message. I'm not going to read all of this. There's lots to go here. So let's see here. The patch size is 2 gigs, and we got new things, new cosmetics, new everything. All right, the new features, the big updates, changes. The new DLC is on this update, and then the base game update 37 update. So let's go through here and go through these. So the new DLC is called Scribes of Fate. There's 2 dungeons, Bel Sunar. See here, it's a mysterious temporal anomaly drawn by the Sigic Order to Dark Elf Tower. And yeah, so if you watch their stream that they did on one of the Fridays, they kind of showed the zone. It looks pretty cool. It's like a looks like something from Stone Falls. And I think the dungeon's actually in Stone Falls. Scrivener's Hall. This is more of a library. I saw this one on the stream too. Looks pretty cool. Both of these dungeons look pretty cool, honestly. I don't know where this dungeon is located, but it's pretty fun looking. No, the Rift. So it's in the Rift. All right, see here, those entrances, Eastern Stone Falls and west of Smoke Frost Peak Dolmen. Okay, all right. See here, both dungeons include a normal version and a challenging veteran mode. Each dungeon features challenging hard modes for each of the 3 boss encounters. So each boss has its own hard mode. That's kind of cool. There are unique item sets, 2 new Undaunted Mask sets, only available in the dungeons. Alright. See unique achievement awards available for completing dungeons. Skin, memento, unique tool. Wonder what that is. Several titles and unique housing items. Alright. Pretty cool. And then these are the sets they're adding. I kind of glanced at these earlier. And so this one looks like kind of like a healing set. So it's healing an ally within 12 meters with a direct heal. Creates a 15-meter tether between you. So you and whoever you heal for 10 seconds. Every 15 seconds this can occur. Allies touching the tether are healed every second. So if you stand, I guess, in the tether, you get healed. And it scales off the higher magicka or stamina. So that's kind of interesting. If an ally is overhealed by the tether, they gain minor healers. Wow, that's actually pretty nice for a healer set. I see here, Nyx's Hound's Howl, the medium set, spell damage, medium damage, weapon damage, medium armor. Completing a fully charged heavy attack applies major cowardice to your target for 1 second per 1,000 damage you've done. Per 1,000 weapon damage you have, lowering their weapon and spell damage by 430, and you gain major courage for the same duration, increasing your weapon damage and spell damage by 430. This can happen every 400 or every 12 seconds. Wow, I'm just crazy. That sounds so. Every time you do a fully charged heavy, so 1,000. So you do 10,000 damage. That's 10 seconds. You lower their spell damage and weapon damage by 430, and you gain the same amount they lose. And it can happen every 12 seconds. So if you can do 12,000 damage in a single hit, or your weapon damage can get 12,000, it would be that. But I don't know what I don't know what the high-end weapons damage scale is at right now. So, let's see here. Tavani Enforcer, heavy. Let's see, max stamina, max health, max magicka. So it's like a very balanced kind of thing. So this is the tanking set. When you're blocking, increase your magicka recovery by 369. While you're not, increase your stamina. Interesting. That is, I kind of like this. This is like a magicka tank almost. If you could kind of figure out a way to use it, I don't know. Sounds pretty fun. Maybe PvP. Roxa the Warped Monster Mask. See, this gives you recovery in all three for 70. And each second you're in combat, you gain a stack of Dark Light, up to 30 stacks. Each stack of Dark Light increases your stamina recovery, magicka recovery, health recovery by 8. Each second you're out of combat, you lose it. So interesting. Let's see. So if you're in combat for 30 seconds and you can stay in combat, you'll gain 30 times 8 magicka or recovery for everything. That's pretty nice. Alright, so Scrivener's Hall, Runecarver's Blaze, the light armor. So weapon damage, spell damage, weapon damage, spell damage, penetration. Your damage over time effects deal additional flame damage on the third damage tick. This scales off your weapon or spell damage and applies a burning status effect. That's kind of nice. I wonder how... That's maybe... Each time you deal flame damage, that's probably more geared to like a Templar or a Dragon Knight. But I'm not 100% sure everything that can do flame damage now. Maybe the Inferno Staff. Alright. See, the medium armor, 657 critical, 125 stamina, or 129 stamina recovery, 129 weapon and spell damage. Your group members within 28 meters gain major fortitude, major intellect, major endurance, increasing their recovery by 30%. Wow. That's an interesting set. I'm trying to think of... because that's like, you know how like the Ebon armor gives you like the group buff, everybody gets 1,000 hit points. Or the Worm Cult armor, everybody gets 1,000 magicka. That's kind of interesting. I don't know. Group-wide recovery. That's like group clarity. I see the heavy armor, stamina, health. And then while you're blocking, everybody gets minor evasion, reducing damage from area attacks by 10%. That's kind of nice. That might actually be a good tank set to kind of just wear to help out your group on when you're trying to help your group out in certain things. Let's see here, the monster mask from the Scrivener's Hall, magicka recovery, overhealing yourself or an ally grants 4200 armor for 1 second. Healing yourself or an ally grants them minor vitality for 1 second. Increase their healing received by 8%. Not bad. Not bad. I don't know. Seems like a healing set, but I don't know. I don't do that. So, see, new collectible and die. So here are the emotes. Sailor's Sextant can be attained by completing the Fate's Secret achievement. Lost in the Woods can be attained by completing the Scribes of Fate Scout achievement. Mementos, Onyx Glyphic, and the Emerald Glyphic can be completed by completing the first dungeon and the Eye of Fate quest. Interesting. The Skin Taskmaster's Banner can be obtained by completing the Stonefalls dungeon, Bal Sunar. See, the die comes from the Scribes of Fate Delver achievement. So that, I guess, is for doing both dungeons, maybe? I don't know exactly. New furnishings. We added new bust and trophy furnishings for the 2 new dungeons. In addition to completing these dungeons, any difficulty unlocks which is the 2 achievements from furnishing from the Undaunted Quartermaster. So from the Undaunted Quartermaster, you can buy a Dark Elf Archway Stone. Let's see, originally designed for use in Mournhold to honor all Malexia. Grand archways like this stand. So it's an arch. An archway stone. And then in Craglorn podium filled. Though it currently holds a delicate scroll that the scryers of Shriven Hall study, this wooden podium from Craglorn may serve you well in forms of written knowledge. Alright, so that's kind of neat. New furnishings. Alright, new achievements and titles. 49 new achievements and 6 new titles. Wow, that's a lot. Let's see here. Title, Temporal Tempest, Scourge of the Sunar, Shadow Bless, Courageous Champion, Weaver's Bane, Scribe's Savior, and those are all from pretty much just completing each of the different things, right? So, I don't know what that one's for, but this one looks like the Sunar, and then probably Scrivers and something else. So these are probably all related to maybe the way that you fight the boss and stuff like that in those hard modes for those dungeons. All right, daily, weekly reset timers. Many of the daily timers have been aligned to the same day as the daily login reward, 3 a.m. UTC for EU and 10 a.m. UTC for NA. Activity finders first of the day, participations and wins, daily enlightenment and experience gains, daily quests and endeavors, daily writs and hireling mails. Note the crafting hireling rank 3 passive, which used to send 12 hours after the last one, will now send a mail daily with double the materials. That is a nice little buff right there. This makes it worth it to log on all your characters. Let's see here. A variety of other miscellaneous items, including writing timings, fence launcher limits, and remain silent. So all those are going to be set to 10 a.m. UTC. I don't know what time that is. Let's see. All right, that is 4 a.m. Central. So what is that, 5 a.m. Eastern? Yeah, I think that's 5 a.m. Eastern. Let's see here, a variety of other miscellaneous items, including writing skill training. Oh no, I already read that line. Several weekly timers adjusted to the Sunday reset, which is the trials, solo battlegrounds, and leaderboards. And weekly quests and endeavors are all on Sunday now at 4 a.m. There we go. All right, new rewards for the worthy. These are the PvP items you get in the mail from the rewards of the worthy when you do your daily battleground or other PvP related events. Snakes in the Stars, light, magic recovery, max magicka, spell damage, weapon damage. Applying a major or minor debuff to an enemy applies star venom to them for 6 seconds. This can occur once every 12 seconds. Whenever an enemy with star venom is healed, they take 2,800 oblivion damage once per second, and only an enemy can be effective at one instance at once. Okay, so this is a very PvP set. So whenever you do a debuff to a person, they get this poison put on them, and every second they get healed. So people spamming heals will cause them to take 2,800 damage per second. Interesting. I don't think it's strong enough. I don't know, I might get one shot, so I'm not good at PvP, but it doesn't seem strong to me. Maybe I'm wrong though. Shell Splitter, medium, penetration. So that's like probably near max penetration. When an enemy blocks one of your attacks, your offensive penetration is increased by 600 for 5 seconds. Can stack up to 20 times. You gain 1 stack every 5.5 seconds. That's interesting. So when the enemy blocks your attacks, you gain 631 penetration. And that lasts for 5 seconds. This can stack up to 5 times. Hold on. I'm gonna bust out the calculator here. 631 times 20. So that's 12,000 penetration if you can get 20 attacks off on an enemy without killing it. And then, yeah, you would just totally probably, I don't know. I don't know how that would work out. I don't know. You shouldn't be able to get through their armor at that point. I mean, 12,000 plus 14 times 3. I mean, you're looking at almost 18 higher thousand penetration. All right, Judgment of Akatosh. Heavy armor, spell damage, and weapon damage. Max health, and some armor. When you deal direct damage with a blink, charge, leap, teleport, or pull ability, you distort time on your enemy after 3 seconds. The enemy bursts with a temporal energy, reducing the movement speed of all enemies within 12 meters by 70% for 6 seconds, stunning them for 3 seconds. This effect can be blocked and occurs once every 15 seconds. That doesn't sound that fun. Like if you would, so like, I don't know, I play a Nightblade, right? So I teleport in onto somebody. If they don't block it, everybody around them gets snared for 6 seconds by 70% and stuns everybody? Or does it just stun the person you hit? That's interesting. I don't know. That'd be fun for Battlegrounds. I know that. Alright. Alliance Emblem Face Markings. New Alliance Emblem Face Markings can be acquired by completing the PvP achievements. All right, so from what I understand reading the Reddit, it's the logo of your alliance and the color on your face, and you can change your eye color to match it. From what I understand, I'm not 100% sure if that's true or not, but that's what I read on the Reddit. And then let's see, we have a new home available to test, located between the High Isle and Galen. The Fog Break Lighthouse, a cozy life of a lighthouse keeper awaits anyone who claims Fog Break as a home. This welcoming lighthouse includes a large undercroft, stunning views of the sea, a beacon to help ships navigate the dangerous waters, and plenty of outdoor space to savor. So I saw this one on the stream. I thought it looked kind of cool. I want to see it in, I want to preview it. This might be the house we go with for our character. Right now I'm leaning towards the house that you can get in Cold Harbor, the flat nothingness. So that's where I'm leaning right now, but this lighthouse looked pretty cool. Lots of space, and it's very it seemed very Breton with a little bit of druidic influences on it, so it's kind of cool. I don't know if it really fits the Nightblade as much, so that's, you know, I just got to see how it looks, but on the stream it looked pretty cool when I was watching that. Let's see here, new furnishings. Bastina Kuro, whatever, now sells High Isle mixed furnishing documents, which contain random furnishing plans from High Isle and similar mixed furniture documents. Okay, so you can buy plans there to get random furnishings. So let's see here. And the other guy has 7 new plans. Let's see, a sketch. So Renaissance Crystal, Druidic Throne, Druidic Oven, Mage Tapestry, Stone Lava Etched, Statue Bronze Tentacle, that sounds cool, and Druidic Bridge of the Living. Let's see here, also prior set of plans can now be purchased for 100, so Potted Trees, High Isle Beacon, Unlit, High Isle Tapestry, Seaside, High Isle Hearth, High Isle Hourglass, Shockjaw Massive, High Isle Caravel Miniature. I don't know. I think that's a boat. See here. Bundled up all the furnishing plans into a new Dreadlands furnishing folio, which can be purchased for 700, which contains the following: Dreadlands throne, Dreadlands tapestry, Alinor easel, Dreadlands puzzle cube, Blackwood provisioning station, Fargrave water goblets, gobules, a Fargrave window. All right, so this furnishing stuff. I haven't really touched any of that stuff yet. But it's definitely something to look at if you're into that. Housing quality of life improvements. We made a number of improvements to polish the overall housing experience. These include additional filters on the placement and retrieval tabs of the housing editor. So you can place if it's placed coming from your bank, inventory, storage, house storage, or collectibles. Whether the furnishing is bound or unbound. Furnishing limit type the furnishing falls under. While in combat with at least one training dummy, the show housing panel keybind Fi now changes to reset training dummies, which allows you to easily reset training dummies you are in combat with. Home's current occupants are now listed in the settings section of the housing editor. This can also kick occupants out of your house if they've overstayed your welcome. The home occupants are notified when people enter or depart a home via message top right of the corner of the screen. There's now an interface option that allows you to hide the house tracker when in a home, which is the UI element that tells you the name of the home and the homeowner, as well as the current population of the home, while previewing a home. Placing your target over furnishing will now outline the furnishing, display its name. That's kind of cool. The purchase options for the dialogue now show you a preview of the full listing of furnishings selected in the template, furnished or unfurnished. Okay, so you can kind of see all the things you're getting when you buy a house that's furnished. Nice. Screen narration. Oh, so this sounds pretty cool to me. Hopefully this is what I think it's going to be, where I can like mouse over something and it'll tell me how to say it, because that would be awesome, but I will see. We've added the new option in the accessibility settings panels for screen narration. Once you have this enabled, this setting, you can choose to have a male or female voice, set the speed of the narration and the volume of the narrating voice. Note that you must have accessibility mode turned on in order to use this option, this feature. Most UI screens in USO be fully narrated, and you should be able to move around between the UI screens with narration support. Narration supports all official languages and is computer generated in the language of the client. For example, if you're playing on a Spanish client, you will hear screen narration in Spanish. Oh, that's less exciting now that I read that computer generated. That'll be interesting. We'll have to see what it does. While the UI navigation portions for most screens on the accessibility menu are supported, there are some screens that will not otherwise be narrated at this time, including scrying, excavating, Tales of Tribute, lockpicking, some elements of fishing, and the champion point screen. Additional menu screens will be integrated into the narration over time. The game startup and login flow are currently not narrated. You must log into the game for the first time before narration will start. Gameplay such as combat and world navigation and interactive objects are not narrated. Response when interacting with NPCs are not narrated. To ensure narration does not conflict with the voice acting, character dialogue is not included in the narration. Wow. That kind of eliminates everything now that I think about it. Not sure what would be narrated. While playing with the keyboard on the PC accessible menu defaults to Alt is narrated, but the system menu default escape is not intended to be narrated. These menus provide two alternative ways to engage the same menu context. Interesting. All right, well, we'll try it out and see if it, because I want to just be able to mouse over something on the map so I know how to say the locations. Software occlusion culling is now available as an optional graphical optimization. Enabling this feature will prevent the game client from performing rendering calculations for objects that are completely hidden from the view by other objects. Doing so can provide a performance boost at the cost of additional memory usage. You can test this feature by adding the following line to user settings. .txt. All right, that'll be interesting. The Necrom prologue quest, Eye of Fate, help Laramil the Wise unveil the conspiracy forces, blah blah. I don't want to spoil myself on any of that. So this is the prologue quest. They added that for the new chapter that's coming out. When you complete it, you get a unstable emerald glyphic emote. In addition, we're providing templates. So these are testing templates you can get that have all kinds of free gear and stuff like that. Don't need to go through that. Known issues. Companions currently have voiceover lines about dragons when referring to the Cartocleps in Scrivener Hall. Several voiceover lines from Lara in the chapter prologue quest are currently not working properly and would be fixed in the future. Abilities. There is currently an issue with the concentrated barrier passive not functioning in some cases. With the new rules to block and bar swap, this is being fixed. All right. Combat and gameplay. So this kind of goes through like some explanation. I'm not going to read it aloud, but I think the too long didn't read on this is like they want to nerf light attack weaving, and they now in this they kind of buff it. And so where is it at? So we're implementing a new feature on all damaging light attacks where they will scale and derive their damage to be inflated to before how much the cap was, right? It's based on your spell damage and weapon damage, magic, and stamina. So the base damage cap is 3850 for melee attacks, 90% for range attacks. That's for light attacks, which is within 100 to 200 of this damage deviation. So from the highest parses they've seen in game. So note that this base damage cap is not a cap in terms of how much you can do in general, but purely how much damage you can reach with your stats, such as weapon damage or spell damage. This base cap is fed into the rest calculation. So you might get higher than that. So it's not the actual cap. So they're just explaining that. So interesting. I think that is. I knew it felt a little weird, like from when I played before. Like the light attacks seemed weaker. I didn't realize they nerfed them at some point. All right, so this will help a low power to struggle. So this is, I guess, to help people who can't weave the light attacks inside of the everything. So I don't know. Sounds like a bonus. I don't know. Outside this adjustment, we've made the usual balance tweaks. Harmony trait no longer is a burst oriented, and as the trait name goes into. Oh yeah, so the harmony trait got changed to now be kind of like undaunted metal. So when you click that, it gives you back stamina, magicka, and health. Then the vampire mist form got redone again. It sounds like. I guess they redid it a few times. So it's no longer a toggle. It's more of a cap closer, I guess. I don't know. It costs you to quickly travel. So and I'd have to play with it. Didn't know anything about it. All I've heard is vampires are not good to play as right now. So another note is quality of life. Tanks. Block will no longer temporarily drop when you swap bars. That's kind of cool, actually. So you get clobbered by a heavy attack. You're trying to prepare yourself. Taunt immunity. Be harder to reach. You'll take 5 applications of taunt between 2 members, totaling reaching up from 3, so I guess it's harder to over taunt now. Last but not least, iteration of soft taunt system that pull abilities such as fire grip, silver leash, and instead of taunting enemies for 5 seconds like they did in the past, they'll attempt to normally taunt any enemy that is not already taunted. The hope is to help keep these abilities available to use as a tank or any role of support, where tanks can control enemies more easily at the start of engagement while others can still use their skill for grouping up foes. If the tank already has corralled the attention, this will apply to single target application pulls. So area of effect pulls like Dark Convergence, Rush of Agony, Void Bash are not affected by these. Alright. No means an exhaustive list. Some smaller adjustments to skills, as increasing shield efficiencies, scaling functions of Conjured Ward, and it's more for our sorcerer lovers. Some ability iterations on skills grant and power. Plenty of the other number of tweaks. Hybrid stat lovers with tweaks, small physical harm jewelry glyphs you've been asking for. Alright. So, general, right? Fixed an issue where the stun from a successful sneak attack could trigger off other triggered events such as item sets. Okay. Fixed an issue where bash and light attack could simultaneously... Oh, you could bash and slide attack simultaneously while using the gamepad. That's nice. Fixed an issue where ground targeted spells were cancelled with a light attack during their phase while using a gamepad. Interesting. Wow. When attempting a light attack or heavy attack on a gamepad with grounded target reticle active, you will now confirm the ability deactivate, making these easier to use in a more fluid manner while weaving. What? I don't know. I'm not sure about that. Fix an issue where using block would not cancel sprint. Interesting. Updated tooltips following the player passives to mention the scaling effects. Army with vital combat information. Burning light, blood magic, tri-focus, spell orb. Passives now also deal magic damage rather than magic or physical damage. Note that these will continue to dynamically scale off the highest stat. Increase scaling of all weapon light attacks by 50%. Werewolf light attacks by 20%. Introduced stat scaling limit on these effects to benefit weapon or spell damage, magicka or stamina after reaching 3850 damage and 4813 werewolf damage. Sounds like a buffed werewolves, honestly. See, the limit is unaffected by bonus such as critical strikes, berserk, or vulnerability. And there's a bunch in there that I'm not going to read right now. We'll see how this goes. Fixed numerous attacks where missing invisible targets when they should not have been. Affected attacks are burning, poison, status effects. Lady Maglada? Maglada? I can't pronounce any of these words. I know that's been a complaint, but it is what it is. Fiery breath and its morph. Impaling shards in its morphs. Alright. Bar swapping while you're blocking will no longer temporarily disable block. This should be significantly reduce the situations of dying while bar swapping. Tanks rejoice. Your power is no longer known bounds. Alright, well, we'll see. We'll see. Abilities and item sets that pull single targets. Oh yeah, we already went through all this. So attempt to target for 15 seconds if they're already taunted. So beckoning armor, fiery grip, unrelenting grip, silver leash, swarm mother. Swarm mother is a monster set, so it'll taunt now when it pulls them in. That is kind of interesting. That makes it a little bit more interesting than I thought it would be. Some adjustments to taunt, such as puncture and a rage, improve their experience with the taunt immunity mechanic. Enemies will now only become taunt immune after they're taunted 5 times between 2 unique targets, up from 3. Alright. To reduce the likely unintentionally happening. Fixed an issue where a single caster of taunt can apply 2 stacks of taunt to an enemy rather than 1. Well, overall it sounds like they're making tanks a little better. I don't know, it sounds good to me. But I haven't played a tank since I came back, so hopefully it's good. Added 2 new help entries under the combat header to explain name buffs, debuffs, and the major and minor system. Alright, that's kind of nice. Alright, Dragon Knight, our Infernal Flame, Empowering Chains, I guess is now called Chains of Devastation. This morph grants Major Berserk after 10 seconds. Rather than Empower, as Molten Armaments already grants it in a much more effect way. I'm not reading that wrong. As such, this morph was renamed to better note its effects. Devastation was our intention. Major Berserk after 10 seconds. Interesting. Alright, Lava Whip. Fixed an issue where this morph could fail to activate many conditional requirements. That's stated when casting ability that costs a magic or stamina. Note the conditional requirements only require a stamina ability. Specifically, will still not fire this, as this ability is predominantly magicka oriented. Alright. Necromancer, Grave Lord, Skeletal Mage, Skeletal Archer, Morph. Fixed an issue where the damage boost of this morph would fail to apply if damage was blocked. Boneyard. Reduced the damage of this synergy by 47% to ensure its similar power to other synergies of its ilk, such as Conduit or Combustion. That's a pretty big nerf to Necromancers, I think. I always see this morph, like whenever I group with a Necromancer, I see this synergy everywhere, so... Bone Tyrant, Death Gleaning. This passive now restores 333, 666 magicka and stamina when nearby enemy dies, up from 100 to 200. Nice. I like that they did 666. That's kind of funny. Alright, Sorcerer. Daedric Summoning, Conjured Ward. Increased the damage shield of this ability and regenerative ward morph by 10%. Increase the max health cap of these abilities to 55%, up from 50%. This ability now morphs dynamically and scales between the higher of your max health or magicka, rather than only magicka. Hardened Ward, increase the damage size, shield size of this morph by 7%, and increase the max health cap 72% from 60%. Wow, that's pretty good. Regenerative Ward, rename this. Okay, I was wondering why I'd never heard of Regenerative Ward before. Rename this morph to prevent confusion with the buff type. So it used to be called Empowered Ward. That's what I was curious about there. Summon Unstable Familiar, fixed an issue with this ability. Morph another sorcerer's version of these abilities. Attack the target your own would rally to their cause immediately before become active in combat as well. However, we encourage you to use them to aid each other in battle nonetheless. Alright. Your own would rally to their cause. What? There's something there that doesn't make sense. I don't know. Storm Calling, Mage's Fury. Increase the area effect size of this ability and its morph up 1 extra meter. Fixed an issue where they execute damage from these abilities were not properly labeled as an execute. This morph now deals execute damage to all targets nearby rather than dealing an initial hit and a smaller amount of damage to nearby targets. This will result in approximately 129% damage increase of the area of effect while causing the ability to appear under the same ability ID for combat logs. Holy crap. Deals execute damage to all targets nearby rather than doing the initial and the smaller. Wow. That is insane. AoE execute? That's crazy. Overload. Fixed an issue where the ultimate in this morphs would not remove themselves when heavy attacking was just enough ultimate for one tick. Alright. Templar, Adric Spear, Radial Sweep is now, or Empowering Sweep is now Everlasting Sweep. Increased duration of the pulse damage over time to 10 seconds at base, up from 6. This morph no longer grants him power, as Solar Flare and its morph already grant this buff. As such, the name has been adjusted to prevent confusion. Dawn's Wrath fixed an issue with Backlash, where its ability and the Purifying Light morph were considered magical. Fixed an issue where this ability and the Purifying Light morph were considered magical melee damage rather than magical range damage. Note that Power of the Light was already considered martial range damage, and this has not changed. Eclipse Living Dark morph fixed an issue where this ability's visuals could cause you to appear invisible in some cases. Warden Animal Companion's Cutting Dive morph will no longer requires the enemy be off balance for the damage over time to apply. It will apply any damage time it deals damage. Wow, that's pretty nice. Winter's Embrace, Crystallized Shield. This ability and Shimmering Shield morph now grant 2 ultimate when the shield takes damage rather than restoring magic equal to 22% of the ability's cost. Increase the cost of this ability and its morphs up to 4,300 from 3,700. Reduce the shield strength of this ability and the Shimmering Shield morph by approximately 33%. So, more ultimate, less shield. And it costs more. I don't know if that's a fair trade. And you don't get the magic back. Oh, I don't know. Crystallized Slab. This morph no longer grants magicka or the new ultimate restore when the shield takes damage. In exchange for the damage done in the stun, this morph does retain the original size of the damage shield. Reduce the damage per hit of this morph by 33%. I have a Warden. I haven't done anything with it. I can't speak to any of that. Sounds like a nerf. Sounds nerf, if you ask me. But could be a buff. Someone let me know. Weapon Destruction Staff Ancient Knowledge fixed multiple issues where the Inferno and Lightning Staff components were applying to incorrect attack types. Okay, I wonder if that's a nerf. Let's see here. Secondary effects are now tracked separately rather than being linked to Major Breach. This will allow status effects from the ability to continue while multiple applications are active or when other sources of Major Breach apply and override this. Reduce the frequency to 7.5 seconds. Down from 6. What? Reduce the tick frequency to 7.5 seconds, down from 6. What? Reduce the frequency, but the number's higher than it says down. That seems worded wrong to me. I don't know. I'm just reading it here. Wall of Elements. All versions of this ability and its morph will now display hostile telegraph to enemies. Oh, that's nice. Wall of Frost and its morphs will now apply Minor Breach, reducing the movement speed of all enemies by 40% for 4 seconds when damaging a chill target rather than immobilize them for 4 seconds. So that's now snares. That's nice. Dual Wheel of Flurry. Fixed an issue with this ability and its morphs where damage and the audio impacts were delayed and out of sync with its animation. That's nice. Two-hand Cleave. Fixed an issue where the visual and sound effects were not correct or fail to play. Critical Charge Stampede Morph. Fixed an issue where the initial hit of this morph would only guarantee its critical strike against the first target hit rather than all targets hit. Note this is a guaranteed. This guaranteed critical still does not apply damage over time to this ability, which is by design. Uppercut Wrecking Blow Morph. This morph now grants Major Berserk for 5 seconds. Now it's really time to wreck it. All right. It sounds like a buff to two-handed right there, if you ask me. All right, World Vampire Mist Form. This ability and its morphs are no longer toggled. That reduce your damage taken from players and or grant crowd control immunity while active. Instead, it will teleport you to the position of your cursor, up to a maximum 15 meters away. Reduce your damage taken for the next 3 projectiles by 100% while teleporting. Casting any of these abilities will increase the cost of the ability by 33% for 4 seconds. The base cost is now 4,050 per cast, which reduces to 3,700 at rank 4 for the base ability. Elusive Mist. This morph now grants Major Expedition and Major Evasion 4 seconds after reappearing rather than just Major Expedition. Blood Mist now causes you to deal damage around you and heal for damage caused once every 2 seconds after activating the ability rather than once per second while active. Increase the damage per tick by 9%. All right, I gotta read what the developer comments for this is. Let's see here, the skill's been a wild ride for the past 8 years. Really was eventually work. Yeah, it's everything mentioned here is PvP. I don't think anybody would use this in PvE. All right, Werewolf Piercing Howl, Feeding Frenzy Morph. Synergy now grants minor force and power for 10 seconds. Jeez. Rather than empower for only 5 seconds. Wow, Werewolf is strong. Minor force and empower. So your heavy attacks on a werewolf. That's gotta be crazy. This morph now empowers the caster to self-synergize Feeding Frenzy. Right? Guild, Fighters Guild, Trap Beast. This ability and its morphs no longer trigger the ability timers after they hit a target rather than after placing it and after hitting. All right, hold on. This ability and its morphs will no longer trigger abilities after they hit a target, rather okay. It only triggers now when it hits something rather than placing it. So that sounds like a Trap Beast nerf, because I think that was like the mechanic where you just drop it on the ground and that doesn't have to hit anything, and you get those buffs that skill gives. I think that's how that works. Sigic Order, Concentrated Barrier. Fixed an issue where the shield from this passive could be half of its listed value in some cases. Alliance War Support Guard. Fixed an issue where this ability's morph transfer damage was only triggered under conditional requirements. Don't know anything about those details there. Alright, itemization and item sets. Many distance-based item sets such as Zon and Scourge Harvester will now properly interact with dragons, being able to apply them when other beasts are meeting their range requirements. No other instantly breaking if they're activated. Alright, so there's a whole list of sets with that same kind of issue. They now work on dragons. Glyph of Physical Harm, Glyph of Spell Harm. These enchantments now grant weapon and spell damage rather than only weapon or spell damage. Physical harm now glyph now adds 10 stamina recovery, and spell harm grants 10 magic recovery. That's kind of nice. So you can swap. They're aiming toward hybridization. That's what their goal is right there. Item trait, Bloodthirsty. This trait now grants 210 to 350 weapon and spell damage against enemies 90%, under 90% health, up from 70 to 350. This will cause the trait to reach the same final results as before, but with less of a power gap between the lowest and highest qualities. Interesting. Harmony. This trait now grants you up to 880 health, magicka, and stamina when you activate a synergy per trait rather than increase the healing, damage, and shield potency of synergies by 20%. Fixed an issue where Harmony did not interact with companion synergies. Alright. Dungeon and Arena sets. Crimson Oath Rive. I don't know. After cracking the code, the set now only fires when you meet the conditions while in combat in order to prevent it from firing before you've actively engaged with enemies, helping you prevent those pesky pre-pulls. Iron Blood fixed an issue where the set's visual effect was not being visible to enemies in some cases. Monster Masks Archdruid Dev updated the area hitbox of this set to be a 7x5 rectangle rather than a cone. This should fix issues with the set miss a target it was spawned on. Lady Mal fixed an issue where this set's damage was considered single target rather than area of effect. Fixed an issue where this set would miss invisible targets. Did not fix how easy it is to butcher the pronunciation of this set. Like they know right there. It's like Malgada. I don't know. They need to have the phonetics out after every single word. Mythic items. Fawn's Lark Cladding fixed an issue where some of the set's effects could become stuck on your character. Pearls of Fae. This now grants 3 ultimate when attempting to cast an ability that consumes resources while under 50% of your dominant resource, rather than 5 ultimate while under 30% of a resource. This was done to make the set more widely available to use, while peeling back some of the raw power of the set. I've never heard of this item at all in any of the things I've researched since I came back to the game. So that's interesting. Alright, Overland sets. Night Terror fixed an issue where the tooltip of this bonus listed as up to 27% sneak radius reduction rather than the actual 10%. Oh, that's interesting. 7th Legion Brute fixed an issue where this issue was not activating off the minor resolve granted from Resolving Vigor. Stiggin fixed an issue where this set could activate out of combat in some cases, and Vesture of the Darlock Bray fixed an issue where this set's 4-piece bonus scaled with Knight's Terror quality instead of its own quality. So, oh gosh, it's scaled off that other set. That's just weird. All right, Blackwood quest: the ghosts of something, the alternate Bristol note, so you can reference it anytime. All right, I'm gonna kind of not read the quest ones so I don't spoil myself on some stuff. Here, crafting and economy. Daring Kosar Shield Master Ritz will now guide you to the Daring Kosar Woodworking Station. All right. Skip the quest. Dragon's not using their strafe ability. Okay. Never seen a dragon try to run. They just stand there and get killed. Let's see. Skipping the quest because that looked like a spoiler to me. A few produce crates now give the correct item of produce. Nice. a set of 27 new furnishing plans failed in Galen. Reward coffers by completing delve and world bosses. Alright, so we get new furnishing plans in Galen. We need to do that. I totally skipped that. I don't know why. See, you're fixed an issue with antiquities. Some of the leads were lower drop rate than expected. So the Ebon Dwarven Wolf, the parts of that were rare. Dwarven Scarab Pet, rare. Bark Roots Blessing Skin, rare. Mythics. So a lot of these pieces for these different items, pretty rare. This is the one I want to try to get. Mora's Whispers. And then the furnishings were pretty rare, I guess. So they just increased the top drop rate for those. See here. Fixed an issue with Greymore Caverns Treasure Map 1 was spawning under a different mound of dirt. Interesting. Okay. Fixed an issue where High Isle books would continue to glow after being read. Alright, so I'll just skip some of this stuff. Going on a little long here. So they fixed some quest bugs and just about everything. I don't care about the card game. It's terrible. It's not fun for me. Let's see here. Fix some bugs in dungeons, quests. These are all very important things right here. I'm just skipping because I don't want to be spoiled. Or yeah, spoiled by the some of the spoilers and some of these things. Let's see here. Fixed visual effects on followers. Clouds no longer reset when character creation when making a character. Let's see. Improving amount would emote block from playing correctly, and sometimes clean alchemy master writ would not advance the endeavor. These are all good fixes. See, reading the following lore books now properly grant restoration staff progress rather than destruction staff. All right, so it doesn't matter unless you reread them the first time on your character, so you'd have to make a new character for that. Let's see here. Dragon Star Arena leaderboard can now give you staffs and shields. Housing, I think we already covered all that stuff. Miscellaneous looks good. I'm not seeing anything. You can pet a dog now in Alcure Desert, Cold Harbor. Yeah, it looks like these are just bug fixes. There we go. That's everything. my throat's killing me. All right, so that's the patch notes for the PTS for 8.3 for Elder Scrolls Online. Yeah, some of it looks good. I didn't see any class changes for the Nightblade, so that's either they're in a good place or they're in a bad place. I don't know. I enjoy my Nightblade, but I'm still early game on this new account that I made, so we'll see. Yeah, let's just leave it at that. Thank you very much for watching, and have a fantastic day.